Guys, our 900-ton crane is stuck on an awful site where the trailer can't even get in, but that's not the main issue. They told us the span was 66 meters, but it's actually 80, so we borrowed 20 tons of counterweight only to find the boom can't lower. Hello everyone, picking up from the last video, we packed up the crane after dismantling the tower crane all night until 7 a.m. We came back at 3 p.m. to pack up the super lift, and now it is finally done at around 7:30 p.m. We are heading to our next site in Qingyuan, which is only about 70 to 80 kilometers away. Once the excavator lays down the steel plates, we will reverse out, though I'm not sure when we'll arrive tonight. We are putting the crane in crab steer mode to hug the right side, giving the excavator room to pull the plates. The ground here is firm enough for the tires, and the excavator quickly paved a path out for us in just 10 minutes. Wow, the steel plate tilted as soon as the front wheels hit it, so the excavator has to press it down for us. Keep reversing, it's fine. I need to engage the differential locks before reversing up this slope in one go. Without the locks, we would definitely slip since the rear axle is completely suspended right now. Just like when we entered, we have to use multiple steering modes and maneuver back and forth to clear this turn. Let's park here and grab some food before heading out. Then I'll drive straight there. It will take a few hours to drive, and we might have to set up the crane tonight or early tomorrow morning, which cuts into our rest. Before departing, let's study the 61-kilometer route to avoid making any wrong turns. It should take about an hour and a half, arriving around 10:50 p.m., while Lao Liu guides me in reverse out of the site. Since we drove in forward and can't turn around inside, we have to back out carefully with a spotter. Turn the wheel all the way, let me adjust and straighten out. Keep an eye on that side, it's clear. That was intense with everyone watching, but thanks to Lao Liu's guidance, we cleared the turn and are now 20 kilometers down the road. Both the upper and lower engines are almost empty, so we'll stop at a gas station to fill them up completely. We'll be working there for 2 days, and after spending about 2,500 yuan on the lower engine, we're pulling up to fuel the upper one. Back up a bit. Lao Liu, perfect. That's 219 liters for the upper engine. costing around 1,400 yuan. Let's go, aiming to arrive before midnight so we can rest, as the site is only 60 to 70 kilometers away. I'll just drive the whole way north toward Guangzhou, passing quickly through Huadu District right into Qingyuan. The steep hills slowed our heavy crane down, so we arrived at the site an hour late, around 1 a.m., but it's fine. We are finally near the lifting area right before 1 a.m., severely delayed by those massive slopes. Those 60 kilometers burned nearly half a tank of gas, and fortunately, the client decided we don't need to set up the crane tonight. We'll wake up around 6 or 7 a.m. to start assembling, so we're parking the counterweight trucks here and getting some much-needed sleep. It's 6:20 a.m., and the wheel hubs are still slightly warm from yesterday, but it's time to head inside. Oh man, this terrain is going to be tough to navigate, so let's park the crane here and check it out first. I'm not exactly sure what we are lifting, but it looks like that massive and incredibly heavy steel structure right there. We need to hoist it over there, but looking at this messy road, I'm genuinely worried if we can even get in. The site manager claimed the road is fine since a 300-ton crane passed through recently, though I don't see any crawler crane tracks here. We will try backing in first after they level the ground with an excavator, since the steel framework was likely erected by a crawler. The mud is incredibly deep, but thankfully I locked the suspension and used the half-gear mode to power my way out. Look how deep the ruts are. Our test drive proved we couldn't get through, forcing them to find a real solution. They are scraping away the topsoil to expose the solid concrete underneath, making the surface look much firmer now. The ground holds the excavator's weight well, so we'll try reversing again to see if clearing the mud worked. Just as they promised, the underlying surface is solid, allowing us to position the crane while I measure the working radius with my drone. I measured 3 points today. The first is the distance from the crane to the obstructing steel beam, which sits at a height of 40 meters. The distance from our parking spot to that beam is 22 meters, making the final working radius 40 meters, which requires full boom extension. After reviewing the measurements, we realized the crane needs to shift slightly closer to manage this massive radius, but not too much. If we get too close, the boom might hit the overhead structure and fail to lower, but at least the main crane is successfully positioned. However, the trailer is struggling to enter. Its lighter front end is slipping in the mud, making it nearly impossible to maneuver. This trailer is having a tough time because our heavy main crane completely destroyed the road on its way in. The site crew assumed the trailer would easily follow us and didn't bother fixing the path, even though the ground underneath is solid. The trailer keeps slipping because its drive system is completely different from our 7-axle, 5-wheel drive main crane. Unlike our crane with its hydraulic auxiliary drive, the trailer only has 6 axles and 2-wheel drive, but assembly will be quick once it gets inside. We brought 125 tons of counterweight for this 40-meter radius, mostly because we have to lift the cargo completely over that factory building. This maneuver requires near full boom extension. Otherwise, a 900-ton crane is pure overkill for a 25-ton load at this distance. With the boom extended, we need to rotate and lower it to verify our reach, as falling short now would be a massive embarrassment. Fortunately, after lowering the boom, the reach is perfectly fine, so we are heading out to grab some lunch. It is a long walk to the exit, and Lao Liu didn't want to go, so we will eat outside and bring him some food back. We will start hoisting right after lunch, but first, we need to slide the counterweight all the way to the rear position. I honestly have no idea what this massive piece is. It looks somewhat like a giant hopper or a huge lid. To give you an idea of its sheer size, it is about 12 to 15 meters across, making this tight lifting environment quite challenging. We have to constantly rotate to dodge nearby pipes while hoisting, but we successfully managed to place the heaviest piece. I am unsure where the smaller parts are supposed to go, so we will wait for the crew to secure this load before we unhook. Does anyone know the capacity of that nearby gantry crane? Anyway, our 25-ton main lift is safely in position. The boom is showing a slight bend under the weight, and we still have an unknown number of items left to hoist today. Taking advantage of this downtime, the Weikai mechanic came over to quickly service our second crane, Unit 920. After they finished securing the hook, we were told to reposition deeper inside to lift a pipe at a staggering 70-meter radius. The final distance might be even further, but since it is only about 4 p.m., we should finish relocating just in time to clock out. We are moving the counterweight forward to retract the boom and pack up, while an excavator preps the new area out back. By the time we completely pack up the crane and they finish preparing the new spot, it is going to be dark. To make matters worse, heavy rain has started pouring down, and it is already past 7 p.m. Yet we still haven't retracted our outriggers. We need to pack the outriggers and reverse over there. Keep backing up slowly and smoothly adjust the steering wheel. Keep coming back, perfect. But now the front outriggers won't extend properly on either side to level the crane. Even though the excavator worked on this area, the ground remains far too soft and uneven to support the outriggers. Look at the massive rut we left while reversing. This section used to be a ditch that was haphazardly backfilled. They just dumped random debris in here to level it, so we must be extremely careful when driving out to avoid damaging our tires. See that sharp hazard over there? Ruining a single tire on this machine would cost us tens of thousands of yuan. I am calling the site personnel for a solution, but everyone has left, so we finally reached the crane again the next morning. We arrived a bit late, yet the site manager still hasn't shown up, leaving us waiting around in this remote area. We had to walk a full kilometer just to find lodging last night, woke up at 6 a.m., and only got back to the crane by 6:30. That sweaty kilometer walk reminds me of last night's nightmare where the outriggers completely failed to extend and stabilize us. Every time we pushed one outrigger down, the opposite side would violently lift, making the crane dangerously unstable in the mud. This chaotic sight is incredibly frustrating. The excavator is filling the right side so we can shift over without crushing anything hidden below. Hitting buried debris would ruin our expensive tires, proving once again that morning daylight makes tackling these tricky setups much safer. We had no choice but to stop last night due to the heavy rain and missing site staff, despite desperately wanting to finish. Setting up our crane is incredibly fast if the ground is prepped correctly, but I made a huge mistake judging the cargo. I thought we were just lifting small parts, but to my shock, we have to hoist this massive, long steel structure. There are 4 of these huge pieces in total, so let's extend the boom and begin the heavy lifting, keeping the massive radius in mind. A competitor measured a 66-meter radius, and our client estimated 70 meters, but their math is entirely wrong since the first piece alone requires 70 meters. The second piece already exceeds 70 meters, leaving me wondering how they ever came up with that 66-meter figure for the third one. We are nearly hitting 70 meters on the first drop, which means the subsequent long pieces will drastically push our working limits. Because each section spans a considerable distance, there is no way our 125 tons of counterweight can safely handle an 80-meter reach. We could try backing the crane up, but that risks striking the boom against the wall, so we'll wait and see how the client wants to handle this. This extreme terrain is bending the boom drastically, and the counterweight is completely maxed out, unable to shift any further back. It's past the middle position, but hasn't reached the rearmost spot yet, and the boom is visibly bending under the strain. Guys, it's already noon and we've finished hoisting to pieces. The second one pushed our working radius to 72 meters. The site manager initially claimed it was 70 meters, which we handled fine, but the real issue is the remaining curved pipe. That curved pipe needs to go even further out than the 72-meter mark, especially considering the 13-meter length of the piece we just centered. Factoring in the dimensions and offsets, the final calculation puts the radius at a massive 80 meters, which is impossible for our 125-ton counterweight. I honestly don't know how they plan to solve this, but we'll grab lunch and wait for their proposed solution. We absolutely cannot stretch the reach any further, and the counterweight can't slide back completely because a green pipe is blocking it. After lunch, they gave us a solution. They will clear more space behind us so we can reverse the crane a bit further. We also borrowed extra counterweights from a nearby competitor, and to move the crane quickly, we'll just unload our current weights directly onto the ground. We won't even pack up the outrigger mats. If we need minor adjustments later, the excavator can simply help us out. Let's retract the boom and move the crane while we wait for the borrowed weights, though this almost guarantees we'll be working overtime tonight. In under 2 hours, we successfully repositioned the crane, and our trailer is currently retrieving the borrowed counterweights. We finally secured the extra 20 tons of counterweight and moved back, but I'm genuinely worried the boom might strike the wall when lowered. Hitting the wall isn't our responsibility, since the factory insisted we try moving back, stubbornly clinging to their 66-meter estimate instead of our 80. I am flying the drone multiple times to back up our crane's computer data. Each blue line on the map confirms a distance of 82 meters. Multiple flights consistently show a distance over 80 meters, and as you can see, lowering the boom at this new spot puts it practically against the wall. There is nothing more we can do. We lowered it to nearly 77 meters until it touched the wall, still falling 4 to 5 meters short. Reaching that far would require attaching a jib, so the site managers finally decided to abandon this plan and find an alternative installation method. They finally trusted our measurements regarding the farthest piece, so we will just hoist the closer ones and pack up the crane today. We'll definitely be working overtime to lift these closer pieces, but we've done absolutely everything in our power to make this work. It is physically impossible to reach, and whether they argue about it later isn't our concern since we even went out of our way to borrow counterweights. Alright guys, that wraps up this video. Thank you all so much for watching and tuning into my crane adventures.